Howdy peeps, your friendly neighborhood Monamachos here, speaking to you on what's today? Thursday, the 26th. 3 days ago was St. George's Day, yesterday was St. Mark's Day. Blessed feast day to all the Georges and Marks and I guess Marcias and Georgias out there. Anyway, as you can tell from the comment above, I'd like to talk to you about what I perceived to be a tectonic shift occurring in the culture. And three things spring instantly to mind, four actually. First is this these special elections. For a while there they went the way of the Republicans, then they went, I think 3 in a row, went towards the Democrats. And then Connor Lamb was elected, who was kind of a different kind of a Democrat, a veteran, a pro-lifer, anti-Pelosi type of quasi-Trumpian Democrat. Hold that thought. Then last week was, or 2 weeks ago, was a special election in Texas that was supposed to go blue. And then the other day in Arizona that was supposed to be a Democrat pickup. Didn't happen. So the vaunted blue wave, the blue tsunami, may be dissipating. Anyway, enough of that. There's three other things that spring instantly to mind, which to tell me that there is a tectonic shift occurring in culture. First one, I commented above about the Starbucks fiasco. Now, folks, I had paroxysms of joy when that happened. I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of guys. I mean, I truly despise sanctimonious, liberal, moral preeners. And Starbucks, that's you. I mean, that's you to a T. I mean, I personally hope that black people all over America just go to Starbucks and do the Al Sharpton thing, bring them a megaphone and just start screaming about reparations. And, make them suffer. Make them eat their own crap, so to speak. Okay, you can read more about that above. Two other things that I think are even more significant, and I'm serious here. The Starbucks thing is kind of whimsical. Kanye West yesterday tweeted something that was very pro-Trumpian, and he also wore a red MAGA hat. And he got a lot of grief for it, and he didn't back down. This is significant. I mean, his wife, of course, came to his defense, Kim Kardashian. I personally don't care for her. I think she's a celebutante, a made-up personality. Kanye, at least, is a musician and has contributed much to pop music, so to speak. Excuse me. But regardless, his wife came to his defense, and she said something very profound. She says, is free speech not allowed? Free thought not allowed? See, that's why I've never really given much credence to free thinkers, because they're not really free thinkers. They're just, they're in a herd, and they go this way simply because the church says this, or the establishment says this, or the established hierarchy says this. Well, they're going to all go this way. They're not free thinking. They're just anti-Christian thinking, anti-traditionalist thinking. I figured that out a long time ago, even when I was a much younger man and not that perceptive. Anyway, so Kanye West, said, "Oh no, I'm not going to back down." Compare and contrast that with Shania Twain, who also came out and said something very pro-Trumpian, quasi-pro-Trumpian. Well, she got her ass handed to her, and she backed out. Now she made a huge tactical error. Pick a side, stick with it, because if you back out, then you're not going to please either one, and you're going to hurt yourself. Must read Machiavelli on this. Okay, he said in a sense, and I'm going to make it in modern English parlance: pick a side, stick with it. You're going to piss somebody off. But Shania pissed everybody off. Okay, she's not going to recover from this. Not that she was, that great of a entertainer. I mean, she's pretty and all that, but Shania Twain's are a dime a dozen. I mean, when you really get right down to it. I mean, I like a lot of her songs, but you know, we're not talking about the Beatles here, okay? So anyway, Kanye West is leading a charge, and like in that movie Spartacus with Kirk Douglas, the first one, in which the slaves all jump on the fence, on the railing, and their combined weight causes it to go down, and then they escape and they start murdering their overseers. That's kind of what Kanye did here, in my opinion. He's going to lead a charge out of a plantation. That's very significant. Number 2, Candace Owens. Truth be told, I'd never heard of Candace Owens until about 48 hours ago. But here's this accomplished, beautiful, stunningly attractive, well-spoken, young African-American woman who grew up on the plantation. And she's coming out and making waves like you wouldn't believe. And okay, I mean, the fact that she's pretty, that helps. But, you know, it's what she's saying and where she came from. That together with Kanye, it's this two-pronged attack against the liberal plantation, which is going to cause a lot of problems for the Democrat Party in 2018 and for the foreseeable future as far as I'm concerned. Especially if they stick to their guns, and by all indications they are sticking to their guns. Now, Candace doesn't seem to be worse for the wear, but she's been called some horrible names. Horrible. She's been called a coon, an Uncle Tom, an Uncle Thomasina. She's been told that she sucks white. Insert the word for phallus here. These are unforced errors. Not only are they unkind, scabrous, and scatological, they're, on a tactical level, they're very unforced. They're a mistake because they're unforced errors. Okay? Unforced errors are the worst kind. It's showing us the desperation of the left. By the way, those people who call black people Uncle Toms have never read the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. In that book, Uncle Tom was a hero, and he was a very upright, courageous, proud black man. Okay? And he suffered. Now, it was a book of fiction. And as Abraham Lincoln famously said to Harriet Ward Beecher, or Harriet Beecher Stowe, Harriet Beecher Stowe, the woman who wrote the book, when he finally met her, three years into the war between the states, he said, "So you're the lady who started this war." That book had a profound impact on the abolitionist movement and caused many people in the North to sign up to go fight for the North, even though Lincoln had no intention of freeing the slaves to any great extent, and then when he did free them, he was going to send them back to the Caribbean or to Africa. Okay? But things get out of hand. So, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Uncle Tom was the hero. He wasn't an Uncle Tom. I'll talk about memetics and the changing of ideas and words and phrases to their exact opposite at another time. I am fascinated by memetics. But the term Uncle Tom is one such meme that has changed 180 degrees in its meaning over time. There are others. I'm not going to go into them right now, but we'll talk about memetics at another time. So, anyway, what Kanye did, what Candace Owens did, is signal a shift, a tectonic shift. Several months ago, I was sitting out on my veranda drinking coffee. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and my little dog just went wild. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. She just, I mean, I thought she was possessed by the devil. I didn't know what was going on. And then some birds flew overhead, and they started squawking. And then about 4 minutes later, there was an earthquake. The epicenter was Pawnee, Oklahoma, which I believe is 80 miles west-northwest of here. And it was a significant earthquake. What my little dog sensed, what those birds sensed, was that there was a tectonic shift occurring. Okay, this is what I'm sensing now with Kanye West and Candace Owens. Okay, the Starbucks is kind of a whatever. It's a nice little cherry on top. Okay, so we're talking about cracks in the coalition, the Black Coalition, the Democrat coalition. George Bush in 1980 won the presidency by one electoral vote with 8% of the black vote. Trump won 306 electoral votes with 8% of the black vote. That means that as long as the white vote remains overwhelmingly Republican, at least 60 to 62%, then you don't need the black vote to win the election, to win a presidential election. However, with black unemployment being at historically low levels, with the economy taking off, with not just unemployment levels, but food stamp levels also decreasing, the economy sputtering at about, hovering at about 3%, which it never did under Obama, by the way. Excuse me. There are some real inroads to be made, and as one commentator, one young black conservative said, all the Republicans have to do is pick up 2% more of the black vote, and they're going to win another presidential election. When they get to 12% of the black vote, then the Democratic Party is going to be essentially over and done with. And I'll talk another time about the actual internal demographic makeup of the Republican Party versus the Democrat Party. I'll have a little whiteboard with some numbers on it and stuff like that. But this is huge. Okay. Now, in 2020, that spells success for Trump. In 2018, this spells success for the Democrat Party because, unfortunately, this 2% shift or more, which Kanye and Candace are signaling, to my mind at least, is going to have an immediate effect in the Democrat coalition as it is concentrated in decaying and dying major metropolitan areas, i.e. Chicago, i.e. Baltimore, i.e. Detroit, okay, Philadelphia, okay, not so much Los Angeles or San Francisco, but these formerly blue cities, these blue bastions, are not only dying, but there are indications that black people who live in them will start either stay home, as they did in 2016 because Obama wasn't on the ballot, or start thinking about not being so monolithically tied to the Democrat Party. As Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, said in one of his recent YouTubes, the black vote is meaningless. It's worthless as it's presently constituted because it's taken for granted. All other voting groups, though, the Jews, Asians, gays, even Hispanics, their vote is more valuable because it's up for grabs. Okay? Now, the Republicans don't have to get a majority of the Jewish vote or the Asian vote or the Hispanic vote, but all they have to do is get anything above 10%, maybe 15%. I mean, they got 30% of the Hispanic vote. I believe they got 30% of the Jewish vote. Okay, so all things being equal, as long as the white vote stays overwhelmingly Republican, then we'll have interesting things happening in the near future. I think the black people are starting to wake up. and realizing that their vote is worthless. And it's only going to be worth something if they start thinking more strategically. And this is what I believe is happening with Kanye and Candace. So let's just leave it at that. It's 15 minutes. Pax vobiscum. Let's try to love one another. And adios.